problem. The problem says that Bob correctly answered 24 out of 30 questions on a test. What percent of the total number of questions did Bob answer correctly? So in this case, we know how many questions there were on the test. That would be 30. We know how many questions Bob answered correctly. And what we're looking for in this question is what percent of the total number of questions did he answer correctly? So the way that we're going to solve this problem is we're going to set up a proportion. And remember that a proportion is just two fractions that are equal to each other. And with percent proportions, no matter what type of problem we have and what piece of the situation we're looking for, we're always going to set these up the same way. And the general way that we're going to set up a percent proportion is, first of all, in the bottom right-hand corner of the proportion, we're always going to put the number 100. And that is because percents are always out of 100. And so above that will go the percent. And then the other fraction in the proportion will be made up of the part and the whole. So most percent situations involve some sort of a whole or total, and then some piece or part of that we're looking at or that we're interested in for some reason. So in this case, that would be the 24 questions that Bob answered correctly. One hint when you're trying to figure out which numbers to put where. The percent, of course, is almost always going to have a percent sign right after it. So if the percent is given to you, you'll probably see the percent sign, and so we know that would go in the percent spot. In this case, we're asked for the percent, and so we'll look to find that. That's what we're going to compute. The part, actually, let's start with the whole. The number that's the whole in the percentage almost always comes after the word of in the problem, or we could restate the information in a way that puts the whole after the word of. So in this case, it's stated that way in the first sentence, or the first part of the problem. It says that Bob answered 24 out of 30 questions on the test. So a good clue for the whole is that it's almost always going to come after that word of. So the way that I'm going to set this up, and then of course whatever's left over will be the part. So I'm going to set up this problem so that 24 is the part. The whole in this case is 30. And I don't know what the percent is, so I'm just going to leave that blank for now. And then in the bottom corner, like I said, I'm always going to put 100. So now what I want to do is, in order to solve a proportion like this, to find the missing piece, the thing that's going to go up in the percent space right here, what I want to do is cross multiply, and I'm going to multiply the two numbers that are diagonal from each other, whichever two those may be. In this case, it's 24 times 100. So I'm going to multiply that out. And 24 times 100, 100 is an easy number to multiply by. That's just going to be 2,400. So basically it's a 24 with two zeros added onto the end there. And then the final step in solving our proportion is to divide by the third number. So we haven't used the 30 yet. That's the third number. I'm going to divide by 30 here. And that's going to give me my answer. So 2,400 or 2,400 divided by 30, you can work that out, and that comes out to be 80. So that's my answer that goes into the empty spot here. And since that spot represents the percent, I can put a percent sign on here, and it means that Bob scored 80% on the test. So that is just one example of how I could use a proportion to find the percent if I'm given the part and the whole. If I was missing one of the other pieces, if I needed to find the part and I was given the percent and the whole, I could basically do the same thing. Or if I was given the part and the percent and I needed to find the whole, I could do that as well. But we will look at those in other examples. Thanks. Hi students, this is Julie. In this video we're going to be looking at how to solve a percent problem with a proportion. And in this example we'll only be looking at one type of problem, or solving for one piece of the proportion. But we'll look at some other examples later on.